Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. The next Wasteless World Talks are here with Bill and Kevin and myself. And today we will speak, probably as well, about the color of lie. And my question is to Bill first. Do you think that lie have a color?
The two colors, when you ask that, the two colors that come to mind are black and bright red. And the meaning behind that comes behind those two colors, black, because a lie can be explained in many ways, but the explanations are usually false. So there's a lack of light, and the red because lies make trouble.
Interesting. What about you, Kevin?
Well, I was always wondering the fact you can have a little white lie, but you can't have a bloody great big white lie. as if the color white will minimize the fact that it is a lie, or will minimize the effect of the lie. But yeah, lies, they don't have a color, they're simply lies.
That's interesting answer because last week I started a poll where I asked exactly the same question. And I gave there 4 answers: black, green, white, invisible. 75% choose invisible. And this is exactly your answer. Because many people or many lies, or generally all the lies, the liar try to hide them behind something. So to hide them, to be invisible. They are there, but they don't want to be seen. So this is why it is so interesting. I never thought about it this way, but it's true. No matter how many, and what is interesting, that you need a lot of lies, and generally never, any number will not be enough to cover one truth. And when we discussed this topic during the noon session generally, there was a great lady from UK, Anna Spiridon. She participated regularly. And I asked them, what do you think, what is the color of truth? And she came with unbelievable answer, which really resonates so strong with me. She said, emerald, I like emerald green. But she said as well, the truth is diamond. And that was so interesting because diamond has all the colors. And what for me is interesting, that the diamond was created from, let's say, dust, from carbon, by putting it under unbelievable pressure until it becomes stronger than anything else. And I think this is exactly the truth. And it was so strong for me that I started to write an article about it and so on. And I think if we present, we lost Kevin. He went to his digging equipment to dig some diamonds, probably, out of the ground. So he will come back. But I think it's quite interesting. So what do you think, Bill, about?
At first, in my mind, the color of truth is a rainbow because it's all the colors. It's hovering in the sky, up to infinity. It brings all sorts of images to mind. But when you originally asked that question, it reminded me of a South American author by the name of Paulo Coelho, who's written several books. One of the scenes that I liked the best was with this assassin, very, very bad man, assassin. And the protagonist met him, and in spite of all the darkness, all the evil that was in there, he recognized that there was a speck of white. And the point is that even the worst person in the world the worst person who has ever lived, has a speck of white in them. And even the best person in the world, the saint, has a speck of black in him. And if we talk to that speck of white or that speck of black, then we will talk past all the camouflage and 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 the lies. So that popped to mind. I hadn't really thought about it very hard, but that would be interesting. I'll spend some more time on that and let you know.
What is your comment, Kevin?
Actually, I dropped out. I had a connection problem, so I missed the start of the question, or I missed the question.
So generally, it's not a question. It is a more, if you see the image of diamond being aligned with the truth as something which can work. Because I think that, very few people in the world will start and run after a stone. But they will start to run when at the end there will be the diamond served. So
I think the interesting thing about both with diamond and truth is that the ultimate diamond is the pure diamond, the one with no flaws inside it. It is absolutely perfect. And we all have a version of the truth, but there must be one definitive, verified truth, which must also be perfect, at least in the time it's presented in. Of course, over time, truth will change.
So, Kevin, is it possible that there is no such thing as truth?
Yes, actually. Yeah, because of course, truth is, yeah, it's difficult to know because our truth is a point of view. A truth or the truth would have to be a collection of all the points of view and then commonly agreed upon, which will never happen unless it is the truth is divine. Then the rest of us struggle because we cannot see the defined truth.
There is one interesting topic which I remember. There was a company, and I think still exists, which turned human remains after a burial into diamonds, which is quite interesting. And the second, which came to me during our discussion today in the noontime, there was an IT guy from Nigeria, and he spoke about his view on the topic and so on. And when he started to speak, I realized one thing, all the computers, they work with two numbers. One is yes, and the second is no, 1 and 0. How do they want to make the unperfect world from yes and no? It's impossible. Why don't they have S3 for maybe or whatever? They use only two numbers. That's so strange. So he was not able to answer the question how the truth is in the IT or what is the color in the IT. But his comments has been very interesting. He was a youngest in the group, which is not hard. We have been all a little older there, but it was so interesting that if you consider that really the digital is made from yes and no, only two numbers, there is something wrong with it. What you say to the new development of ChatGPT? I have seen already GPT-5 and discussion about GPT-6. And I think one of the reason why GPT will not win, because it will be so fast that it will change one GPT after another in 1 week, then it becomes a spiral of that generally. That's my opinion.
The open letter that was written by the heads of so many tech organizations is interesting. to me, I think it's the first time that anybody in authority said, "Slow down, think this through." And so I'm anxiously looking forward to thoughts on that slowdown. Historically, with all the inventions, and I write about it in my books, that the inventions themselves are just shiny objects. And it's the ripple effects and the ripple effects of the ripple effects. And at the end of every ripple effect string are the ethics and governance issues. And that's what really we need to be thinking about more. And we're historically very, very bad at thinking about the ethics and governance issues ahead of time. And so I think this is what the open letter kind of says is, let's consider the ethics and governance issues before we get too much further down the road.
You know why I was not so happy about this letter? Because it was written by people who create this mess and support this generally and get paid for doing that. And they did it. And they did not stop themselves. They asked us to stop. But first, they must change the approach. And that was, if it will be the eye-opener, will be great. But it looks to me more like an apology. Sorry, we told you, but it was too late. So from this perspective, I do fully agree with what you said generally, because it's correct. But I have different feeling about this letter generally. And the same if you take the latest IPPC report from the United Nations. There exists a shortest version for politicians, which is open. There exists a shorter version for journalists, but the full version 1 month after was still not open. What are we talking about? So they can say completely nonsense out of it because nobody has seen the full version. So there is something in the game which I don't think is right.
I have one interesting comment about ChatGPT, and that is when the printing press was first invented and the Gutenberg Bible came out, then everyone saw this as a wonderful thing because then the Bible would be accessible to everybody. But what happened after the invention?
We are losing you. He has to probably log in again.
But the printing press was every nutcase, every maniac. Yeah, I'll try again. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
No.
We can hear you now, Kevin.
No, he's frozen to me.
And yeah, he's speaking from the cache probably. So Kevin needs to reload. So here you see, dear listeners, here you see what is when the technology is the master. Because I cannot influence it, Bill cannot influence it, Kevin cannot influence it. The only thing what we can do, and what just now Kevin does, he asked to connect again. So we have twin brothers here, and one of them will told us something.
It's just a little bit scary.
So please, if you can repeat the Gutenberg story, it will be interesting because.
Yeah, what happened was at first it seemed wonderful because then everyone would have access to the Bible. But what happened instead was 50 or 60 years of political upheaval and potential anarchy, because every lunatic, every nutcase, every agitator had access to a voice. They were able to make printers, they were able to make flyers, and they were able to distribute their thoughts. And this seriously threatened societies around Europe because it had to be controlled. And so from being a wonderful thing, it became a real threat to society. And it seems to be that at least with chat, we have the opportunity to at least think beforehand, what could the threats be? What could the dangers be? And maybe there are none, but it's nice to give ourselves the opportunity to think about it.
It is very interesting comparing between this printing generally and using of the ChatGPT. You know, in the event I just finished, I was asked by the moderator if what I think about the ChatGPT AI and so on, and he said, you know, you have the wasting of time, so ChatGPT will help us not to waste the time. And my reply was, no, ChatGPT will teach you how not to think. And that's a very big difference. So again, if we use the ChatGPT the right way, and unfortunately the direction is not in that, then it will be great. But firstly, we have to change ourselves, not to be lazy, but to use it as a tool. And I know it's much more harder, but this is the way to learn, because this experience will not be forgotten. But if we let someone do the work for us, firstly, we do not learn anything. Maybe we acquire a title, but here will be nothing. And that's the wrong part. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it would be really nice if at least every single document, every single thing which was generated by AI was flagged as AI generated. But of course, it's going to be impossible to police. But at least then we know before we choose to read something. You know, if it's an article or whatever, you can actually make a conscious decision. If this is written by AI, I will filter that out, and I don't want to receive it.
There was, or there is still a legislation in my country which says that in any ad must be tagged as ad. In Czech, we use the word reklama. Few years later, they don't use the word reklama, they use the word advertisement or advert. They developed another words, and at the end, they stopped to use any. So I think that it is possible that every ChatGPT has a stamp written by ChatGPT. It is possible. This is a technological thing. I don't think there is any issue because we can use blockchain technology and many others. But the will is missing because, you know, ChatGPT does not care about money. The people who will use it care about money. And I am sure an editor will not pay an author a big amount of money when he knows that all the book or majority was written by ChatGPT. So this is why they try to hide it. Same as the politician will not say that the speech was written by ChatGPT. It will be perfect for sure. But
it increases the need to teach our children and ourselves critical reasoning. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. We talked about Finland doing such a good job with it. And I'm reminded of something that my mother told me many times, that you can, with all the facts that are out there, you can support anything that you want to believe. And at the time I was in the high school debate team, and the resolution that year had been something to the effect that it's morally okay for one person to own another person, slavery. And I won every debate that season, and my main source was the Bible. There are plenty of facts out there. She ended up saying, there are so many facts out there, you can support any belief that you have. So just be careful what your belief is. And now with ChatGPT, and so it's going to be so many more facts or data points, that it will be easier to support whatever belief you want to promote. That's the danger, and that's the part of the solution, I think, is maybe what you said, Michael, about labeling everything generated by ChatGPT, but also teaching critical reasoning so that we can look at something or hear a message and say, no, that doesn't pass the smell test. I don't like that.
What I like about your words right now, you start to say every children, but then you said no, every one of us. And this is exactly, so we have to generally break the silo of education, narrowing it just to the children. That's wrong. Because we are in the stage where the education of everyone become much more important, especially because of the critical reasoning, because of we are discussing every single time, we are discussing topics which should resonate. And this is what it should become, because as my granddad says, you know, Michael, I need my brain must work. If it stops think, I will die. And he was 99. So I think this is so important that this part of education is really taken out of this. Education is equal to student, is equal to young, is wrong. Right now is the time that education become everyday life and part of our life. And ChatGPT can help, or can generally slip us out of this journey, because I don't need to learn, because ChatGPT will. Google will answer the question, Siri will answer the question. It's not me. And that's wrong. The people are even proud that they are asking Google or Siri or ChatGPT to get the answer. And that must end. They must understand that it's not the future of humanity. It's future of ChatGPT. And I read already article about the future of AI and ChatGPT. There was nothing about humans.
Actually, Bill also said one other interesting thing, getting back to what color a lie is. And perhaps the opposite of a lie isn't the truth, but the opposite of a lie is.
You know, this is, on my opinion, this is on purpose delivered by.
So if you believe truth or not.
Kevin, if you can repeat the last sentence, you has been frozen again.
Okay, what I was saying was that if we talk about the color of a lie, then saying that the opposite of a lie isn't the truth. At a human level, the opposite of a lie is belief, which was what Bill was talking about. And so therefore, you know, what we believe in for us is truth. It may not be a universal truth, but for us, belief is truth. And so therefore, for people to have belief, they must be helped to reach the right belief rather than a corrupt belief.
This will answer my question, why generally religion is understood as the ultimate truth. And all the time there is a group, this is my religion and this is my ultimate truth, and there is another and another and another. And there was quite interesting point in the afternoon or in the noon discussion, where the people, because I am not religious myself, I know it exists, I studied religions and so on, but just touch the surface. But they said, you know, there is no religion which will call people to lie. I don't know. I cannot answer this question. I know there is a religion that call for generally, and almost all religion do, they call for violence. Violence in the name of the religion, of this specific religion. So from the, I don't know, Ritters, with this Kreuzritters in a, how to translate this?
Crusaders.
The Crusaders. Crusaders went for their religion and they kill and they paid indulgences, and still they go to the end and so on. So I don't know, but I think the belief it's a very interesting right now thought, Kevin. Very interesting. Thank you.
Just one point, Michael, the Crusaders is a great example, but there are plenty of examples that are within our lifetime.
Yeah.
And right now we're learning examples of the church trying to eliminate indigenous populations by integrating them, by taking the children away from the parents, shipping them across the country, and any number of things, and that those schools where they shipped the kids to uh, were still open in the 1950s and 60s and 70s. So this isn't so far, it's not so far so long ago. Mm-hmm.
And I think it happened even not today. So you see, so we are calling everything education, but in fact, it's generally, in many aspects, it shouldn't be called education. It's changing not the mindset, it's changing the beliefs. Let's call it so, changing the belief that someone else will do, or that we discussed it last time when we discussed about the AI, where we spoke that the ChatGPT can play a major role generally if you would like to crusade some of this suicide killers which blast themselves somewhere in the crowd. And ChatGPT can take over, so they can talk with these young guys which are not, or girls which are not satisfied with their life, and they will persuade what is better and so on. No man is generally needed, and if you look on the TikTok crazy challenges, the people get killed and they celebrate it as something which is great. It's a TikTok, let's drink whatever acid. It will be fun because it was fun on the screen. It's not funny at all. And this is why I think the topic which you really mentioned is so important, this critical thinking. And it should be everywhere to be understood. And to show it, you need to really, I don't know whether we can define can we define the tools of critical thinking? How to recognize things? I think there will be a long thing, but I will start with the logic. Is it logical to waste? No. So I should do it. Is it logical to whatever? Yes. So I will do it. Because I can take example from the past, from someone who did already. But I don't know whether we can apply it as a critical thinking. I am sure there will be a lot of academics talking about these topics, but my problem is I cannot read their papers. I do not understand what they are writing about. It's too complicated for me. I simply cannot. So.
And if you make critical thinking a movement, like the Wasteless World movement, then there will be people and organizations who want you to stop teaching critical reasoning because they don't want thinking people, they want followers. I remember talking to a U.S. Army major colonel something many years ago, and he said, we don't want older people because they're more experienced. We want the 18-year-old. When the general decides that we need to charge up the hill and capture the hill, you don't want thinking people saying, well, there's other possibilities, or, well, let's look at the alternatives. You want people who will charge up the hill. And in some ways, I think that's the same as many of the giants, as you call them, the giants. They want followers. They want people who will work do the repetitive, often dangerous jobs. They don't want people using critical reasoning. Certainly the politicians don't. They want followers.
Yes.
I would like to talk about critical reasoning again, if we could put that on the agenda.
We will come to it for sure. And I will show you something which I discovered today. Two books. One is, this is the Italian version of the Industry 5.0, and the second one came from Turkey. So this is why you cannot read it. But you know what is interesting? Both this write about Industry 4.0, but was not about Industry 5.0 too. This is why here. What is interesting? You know this image. It was on the blue book as well. But today I realize it's generally, they are trying to put the similar image of a robot taking care. It's not true. But I realized today when I let someone to make the picture of these two, I realized that both use generally the robotic hand to show up humanity. But it's not there. But about the followers, you are right. The issue is that they generally, they are not leaders. So they need to buy followers. They are not being followed automatically. So this is the difference. And the question is if the people are ready to really follow the real role models. I will say nature, because this is everywhere. So why not to follow it? We have 7 more minutes for your information.
I think with politicians, if you think a politician has to have consensus, and so to achieve that, it's rare that a proper leader, a true leader, relies upon consensus. A true leader relies upon vision. And so don't look to our politicians to lead us anywhere except down the drain, because that's not what they're about.
May I ask you one question related to English language? I just have a discussion with Jose, who is our ambassador in Portugal. Bill met him some time ago. And we just have a discussion. He wrote an article about vision. And you know, I almost never use the term vision. I use the term aim. My aim is to build WASTELESS world. And he said that generally, because I use it because in Czech language, this is just a translation of the Czech language generally. In Czech language, aim is the accurate target, is the aim. But Jose says that the real target is vision. What is right? Sorry to ask, but I really don't know. I do not stop to use the word aim, but I would like to know. So is the accurate target aim, or is the accurate target vision in a discussion like this, or in a leadership or whatever?
To it, I think that aim is more.
Kevin, Kevin, could you back up about 2 sentences, please?
Yeah, I think that I would look at it that an aim is tactical, whereas vision is strategic.
Okay.
I like that. Aim. You used the word precision, Michael. I think vision is a way to get there, and is much broader and is very, very imprecise. You can a vision we say we're envisioning the future, and it is not precise. I don't know what the Dow Jones Industrial Average will be on March 8th of 2030. However, I do know that there will be, and then you list the trends. There will be many more electric vehicles. There will be many more, and so on. Trends of all sorts. The future of work, and the future of money, and the future of religion, and so on. So it's much broader. Vision, I think, is much broader than aim. I think aim is very precise. Not that one is better than another.
No. I see it as if I see a tunnel, So the aim is the end of the tunnel, and the vision is the tunnel itself. Is it right? We can call it the journey, but I don't know whether, but thank you for the answers. I will work with it, and maybe I will ask a little bit more about it. We have 3:40 to the end. So today, our success. We have not been able to define the color of lie. We have not been able to define the color of the truth. We have not been able to define the vision or aim, and that makes us so imperfect that we are perfect. So I love this discussion because today we prove we are human beings, you know.
Yeah, it's like we were saying earlier, the saints, even the saint must have a speck on their somewhere, because there is nothing interesting in perfection. It's somehow extremely stale or sterile. It's the imperfections that make us what we are.
And that's so great. So I really love to discuss these topics, and yeah, we will continue. 2:40, we have so much time to the end. So Bill, your turn.
The one thing I like about these discussions is as you said, there's all, you listed 5 things that we were not able to succeed at in the last 40 minutes. However, where we did succeed is raising these understandings to a much higher level. And I think I know that there are even more levels above this. So press on.
What about you, Kevin?
Yeah, I think it would be really interesting to look deeper into this, especially into the relationship between truth and belief and lies. Because you can believe without having the truth. But to lie, you must know a form of truth. You see what I mean? So you need to have a positive before you can make the negative. Whereas to have belief, you don't need to have anything beyond belief. But once you have belief, then of course you're capable of lying.
I think that what we need to really concentrate on, and because this is something what we can influence immediately, this is the critical thinking topic, which Bill mentioned. And I think this is something which can be really shared with everyone. So as the fact that education is not a matter of just children or students, it's a matter of life. And Kevin, I don't know whether you are frozen or not, but you know that if you will touch too many times during the discussion ChatGPT or AI, it will freeze you. So they are listening, so we have to. And there was a great human reaction. So let me wish everyone have a nice time, free of waste and wasting in all its forms. Stay safe, free, and visible. That's important. And please, we meet on the origin location again. So see you next time. Bye-bye.
All right.